Ready?
Ready.
Steady.
The audience now is so confident when they watch The Fast and Furious because they know we're responsibly picking up where the story left off, and we know that we're dedicated to evolving these characters.
It's breathtaking. There's some incredible moments where you can't believe your eyes.
When I first joined the franchise, it was about convincing people to come on this journey. And by the time we hit Fast 5, people were actually calling, wanting to be part of this journey.
It's like action sequence, fight scene, action sequence, fight scene, action sequence, massive fight scene, massive action sequence.
If they've been following it, I think they're going to be really happy to see how the entire franchise ties together.
You get out of the theater and you're exhausted, but at the same time really revved up.
For years I've been walking around and people go, where does this Tokyo Drift fall in? I'm like going, I didn't have an answer. Well, now we got it. I don't have to answer that question anymore. It's perfect.
You'll just have the ride of a life, and there are twists that you would never, ever think were coming. And just when you think everything's done, it ain't.
Now, the last time I sat down with Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, or Mr. The Rock as I like to call him, it was on a beach looking out over the sea in Rio de Janeiro. Clearly things are different this time round. We're in London, so what's going on?
We find our characters resting on the laurels of their accomplishments, their big Rio heist.
Things are good, they got all the money in the world.
Hanging out, enjoying the fact that they've made $100 million, and they're just chilling.
But they're kind of captive. Okay, so here we got all this loot, but we can't go anywhere. We move 2 inches, and it's like we got to look over our shoulder, you know? We're always covering our back.
And then Hobbs shows up.
It wasn't that hard to find you, Toretto.
Wasn't hiding.
And asks Dom for help because he needs to take down these bad guys.
Last week, a team of highly coordinated drivers took down an entire military convoy.
Criminal mastermind who they basically can't catch. His name's Owen Shaw.
We talking vehicular warfare. We've never seen this before.
The good guys are only as good as the bad guy is bad. Period.
This code you live by is about family. It's the very reason we weren't even in the game.
He also has Letty.
This was taken a week ago.
Who most of family, you know, Dom's team, thinks she's dead.
It's impossible.
And if there's anything that's going to get them out of hiding, it's Letty and bringing one of their own back home.
I need your help, Dom. I need your team.
And the thought that this person may still be around, I mean, that they've been hoodwinked, that they've been played, like, what?
You believe in ghosts?
And then they realize for the first time in their whole life, they have to think other than the money. They have to go and get her back.
I'm offering you a chance to make your family whole again.
You get us close to Letty and we'll get you shot.
With that news come all of these repercussions and all of this massive action.
Guys, they got a tank.
Damn. Now it's all a matter of just realizing it, making it work at all costs. Doesn't matter.
Maybe the Letty we once knew is gone.
You don't turn your back on family, even when they do.
I was traveling around Europe to see which city might be the partner for Fast and Furious 6. And as soon as I landed in London, it felt just right.
Fast 5 took place in Rio, and it was a kind of a warmer feeling. It was a more festive feeling. This movie, we needed to get out of that kind of festive, warm place and into a more gloomy, cold, industrial feeling.
The city really influences the film, and also in terms of just like the color palette. Like I remember Brazil being more earthy and rusty and more warm colors, and it was a bit cool in London, so it just adds a whole new element to the movie.
I think there's a great energy in London. I think it's representative of Europe in many ways, just because of, you know, London's participation in history.
It makes it so big in scope, because it's like, how are they going to mess up, you know, such beautiful traditional architecture and all these landmarks, and so you kind of think, oh no, what are they gonna do?
This is London, baby!
You can't count the amount of iconic images that they chose to use in this film, and they've used One, which is Piccadilly Circus. They shut down Piccadilly Circus. When we shot that scene where Dom and Letty chase each other up Piccadilly, around Piccadilly Circus and down a Haymarket, they had 2 minutes every hour to shoot that over a night. I went down to watch. I was mesmerized that, you know, I knew how big a deal to shut down Piccadilly is. We're only the third movie in history to actually do that.
Just like old times.
This is a powerhouse of a city, right? And so now here we're trying to create the most badass villain that we've ever had to face before. Let's make him English, you know?
I mean, I could get deep with it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's just a great scene, and you got a cool, sexy crowd to exploit. You know what I mean?
Over 5 blockbusting movies, the Fast and the Furious franchise has taken us to the 4 corners of the planet in search of high-octane thrills. But as the team reassemble in merry old England, they could well be facing their toughest challenge yet.
I'm gonna give you a chance. Take your crew and walk away. That's the only way you're gonna keep your family safe.
Luke Evans, hello, how are you?
I'm very good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us down.
Well, welcome.
This morning. Now, you are a brand new face to the Fast and the Furious series. What can you tell us about Owen?
Owen, well, he is, it's the first time they've had a proper archetypal villain in the franchise for a start. So that's the first thing, you know. He's ex-military, ex-SAS, Special Forces. He has a very specialized background. You know, he's been trained to a very high standard, very intelligent. He's basically turned bad. He hijacks military components and technology that he then sells on the black market and makes a huge amount of money and makes cool cars like this.
Currently, arguably the biggest action franchise in the world, the Fast movies.
Yeah.
How does it feel to you joining this series of movies?
You do feel like you are joining a huge, mammoth-sized action franchise. You really do. It's nice to join it at this point as well, because I think it's really reaching its pinnacle, and there's such classy action films. I mean, Fast 5 for me was breathtaking. I mean, some of those sequences were just incredible, and Justin knows that he's set the benchmark very, very high, and this one has to match it and surpass it. And, you know, we've got some things designed in this film which are just, I mean, I don't know where they come from, but they work. This actually does what it says on the tin. It was designed to flip cars off the road, and that car there actually did the job, and I've driven this car. I mean, it does everything. It's not a fake, you know, it's real. And that's what's so good about this franchise.
So when you went, right, look, I'm on board, I'm joining it. I remember the last movie, set in Rio. Were you expecting exotic locations, sunshine, and then when you said, so where are we filming first? London.
Yeah.
London. How did that feel?
Well, you see, I would have been thinking like that, except I'd spent a whole year in Middle-earth in New Zealand, and which was lovely, absolutely wonderful, but I was missing home so badly that when they actually offered me the role, and I then said, where am I going next? They said, it's in London, and I was like, really? Oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to be home in London for 6 months.
Because every city the films have been set in has brought something new to each individual film. What do you think London is bringing to Fast 6?
It's a bit like when you see New York. You just see a little snap of New York and you know it's New York. And London has the same effect. And I can't remember the last time it was used to this extent in an action movie of this size. And they've really, you know, I think we've obliterated a bridge, covered it in carnage, and we've ripped through Canary Wharf, and Hackney, we've used some places in Hackney. I mean, so we're really using London to its fullest, and in a very different light to how we usually see London, in a sort of romantic way. It's a proper action backdrop now.
Obviously, you mentioned Owen Short, villain. People often say it is more fun. Actors, I've spoken to a lot of actors who go, it's so much more fun playing the villain. And obviously, you've played a hero on numerous occasions. Are you relishing the chance to just be plain evil?
Yeah, basically. And I remember reading the script and thinking, God, they actually, because I don't play villains often, But you realize that they do actually often have the best lines, and they say the nicest things, and they end up, well, in this one he ends up with one of the hottest girls, and he has these fast cars. And yeah, there's definitely a good villain. A well-written villain is probably as fun to play as anything else you'll ever play. Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic stuff. Mr. Luke Evans, always a pleasure
Nice
to see you,
to meet
sir.
you.
Good to see you, man.
Take care.
This code you live by makes you predictable. In our line of work, predictable means vulnerable. I can reach out and break you whenever I want.
Now, normally, when I get invited to the set of a major movie production, it involves a lot of travel to exotic locations, which, to be perfectly honest, can get quite tiring. So for this one, I said, look, Vin Diesel, if you want to chat, you come to me.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
Might lose your car.
Let's do it.
Mr. Vin Diesel, as always, a pleasure to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, Alex.
Good stuff, man. So, here we are. You're back. Like, Fast 5 turned this into the biggest action franchise in the world right now. Dom is back. He pulled off the biggest heist he's ever done. And now, what's he up to? What is Mr. Toretto doing?
Now it gets tricky, because now Dom kind of has to face the hardest thing he's ever imagined in some ways. The idea that everything he knows as truth is not. What he accepts as reality is not reality. And that there is someone in the past that is going to force him to grow.
And that growing he's doing here, right, in London?
Yeah. I gotta say, Alex, and you'll appreciate this, I love London.
That's awesome. Tell me why. Tell me what it is
London.
about this city, because I think a lot of the cities that you've shot in this series have influenced, like, the films in some way, the character of the place.
Okay.
Would you say?
I would definitely say that. There's something special about London. Something personal. As you know, Saving Private Ryan was the first film I had ever done. First time I was ever paid as an actor. And all that happened here in London when I was a New York City kid that had never dreamed of ever going beyond the Hudson River. And I was here at the Hatfield Air Base Center shooting Saving Private Ryan with Tom Hanks and this very, 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 very passionate director, Stephen. So to come back 15 years later with a monster of a film like this felt good in a lot of ways. The talent here is exceptional. I think that this film will profit from all of the talent in the crew here. The talent in the cast that we pulled from here. Luke Evans has just done an incredible job, and we're really proud of him. There's a certain kind of coldness that the sixth film, the sixth chapter, needed. We came out of Rio, we came out of a very warm environment. The world isn't just Rio. The world has its, other places like London that are direct contrast with the Rio. And I think that makes for good filming.
Certainly a lot colder.
And a lot colder.
Because the last time actually we sat down together was on a beachfront in Rio.
In Rio, that's right.
Lovely hotel. I don't know if you remember this.
I do remember.
Well, I remember saying at that point to you, I was like, hey, listen, why don't you set the next movie in London? Now, all I'm asking here, Vin, is your permission to sort of walk around, just my friends, like no one important, and go, yeah, the reason it's set in London is because I told Vin that he should do it in London.
The reason why it's set in London is because Alex told me that it should be in London, and I acquiesced quite readily, if you want to know.
Vin, it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Always
Thanks,
good to
man.
see you, Alex.
Good to see you.
I got to get my London garb on. I
did some checking, asked around. Got the location of a street race tonight.
back in 2001 when the first Fast and Furious exploded onto the scene, it's hard to imagine that even the most ardent fan could have foreseen that come 2013, we'd be sitting here celebrating the 6th movie in this fast-paced franchise.
One race, 2G buying. Winner takes all.
My agents called me and they're like, there's a cool script, it's called Red Line. It wasn't even called Fast and Furious at the time. And I read, you know, I thought it was fun. I really liked Rob Cohen, I really liked Rob Cohen's ideas, but I had no clue. I didn't even care about cars. I was a New Yorker, so I was like, I'll go take a chance, whatever.
Hey, hold on, give me a little closer.
It's a head scratcher still. But I stopped scratching my head a while back. I think it was after 5. You know, 4 going into 5, I was like, okay, cool, they want us. And then 5, I was like, wow, they really want us.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.
You almost had me? You never had me. You never had your car.
It's crazy because, you know, for a long time you would think that a brand like this would be an outcast. I mean, you've got a bunch of outlaws that are the stars of your franchise.
I smell skanks. Why don't you girls just pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face?
That first opening weekend, I think we made like 48 million, which was kind of unheard of. Then we kind of realized, oh, maybe we hit a nerve. Maybe we got something here.
I thought it was just an action movie where we were running around with guns and driving cars and a bunch of hot chicks. And I think a lot of people probably watching it way back when thought the same thing. You know, our demographic, what was like 15 to 25? Wow, I mean, that was the reaction. But I think that, unbeknownst to myself and a lot of them, I was like, no. There's actually some themes that were smartly woven into this whole thing, and that's why we're here to this day.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For those 10 seconds or less, I'm free.
How could you not have fun? You get to hang out with really cool people that you've enjoyed over the years, and you get to go to the most amazing locations. I mean, it's like a paid holiday, really.
It's a job at times, but no, I do have a lot of fun. I mean, come on, what do? I show up, I drive cars, I still play with guns. I mean, it's like, I never have to grow up. I get to do stuff that we fantasized about as kids, you know? And I've been doing it for 12 years.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Now, Dwayne Johnson was a late arrival to the Fast and the Furious world, having joined in just the last movie, but he has followed the tire tracks to merry old England. And if you think, I'm going to be the one to tell him, we drive on the left over here, think again.
The crew we're after, they hit like thunder and disappear like smoke. You going alone? You won't ever touch them. Been chasing this guy across 4 continents and 12 countries, and believe me, the last damn place I want to be right now is on your front doorstep selling Girl Scout cookies.
Dude, it's great to see you again, Dwayne.
Good to see you again too, man. I'm doing great.
Look at the size of your arms, man.
You're inappropriately dressed again. It's so hot in here, and you covered up.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm only kidding. To everybody out there, it is really cold in here. Luckily, I have a heater right here, so he's appropriately dressed. I am in the spirit of what I like to do, showing off. Is what's called showing off.
Are you bigger than last time? Are you bigger than Fast 5 now with these arms?
I am. I'm bigger and I'm better looking.
So you showed up in Fast 5 as like the ultimate
Took
badass.
over is what it's called.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
And Hobbs is back. What's he doing this time?
I did nothing. Just hanging out.
We're going for a different feel. He's just in the back of a van.
Yeah, tea and biscuits and all that. We introduce new characters and we introduce new bad guys because there's always bad guys that are always doing bad things. Some great bad guys who are very formidable. In order for me to catch these guys, because it's what I do, I catch the bad guys. I have to enlist the help of Dominic Toretto and his crew. And I do it in a way very Godfather-esque, where I make him an offer that he can't refuse.
Every city that this series has been in has brought something to it. Now what has London brought to this movie in particular? I mean, does Hobbs have a fish and chip supper at some point?
He does, yeah. He has tea with the Queen. It's always very interesting because she's a great woman.
Yeah, lovely.
Very funny. hell of a sense of humor too. Loves my tattoos. I think for me personally, and I think as an actor though too as well, there's just such great rich history here in London that anywhere you shoot anywhere exterior, you get a great piece of London where there's great history. You know, it's great because the way London is built is there's not a lot of room for bigger automobiles that you have. And my automobile, the Navistar, is about a 20-ton plus ridiculous vehicle. So to have that in the streets of London is a lot of fun. And I know the Londoners appreciate that. The lads and lasses, as we say in London.
The lads. Now, the big scene, well, one of the big scenes last time was the fight that everyone always wanted to see. It's Hobbs and Dom, you and Vin Diesel going at each other. Now, how are you going to up that for this movie? I mean, A, you're working together. B, I don't know what you could do to sort of outdo that fight scene. I mean, is there a scene where perhaps you crash into some water and punch a shark?
I don't do that.
No.
But I do slap Vin's lips off his face.
There's more?
No, I mean literally, his lips are gone. So he's doing, no, I'm only kidding. I slap one lip off. No. How do we do that? Here's, I think, one of the most important things about that. That was such a cool fight. And I love that fight. A lot of fans did too. But let's not try and top that. Because you can't unless we kill each other. Unless it's fucking dead. So now the challenge is introducing new bad guy characters that are formidable characters, that are viable, and are built up nicely in the movie. So when we all do fight at the end of the movie, it is a big fight. And I can tell you now, because we've been shooting it, this final action sequence is a massive action sequence that has myself, Vin, but it has every character in the movie in this massive action sequences, and on top of that, a massive Antonov Russian plane that can or cannot be going down, maybe not, without giving the story away, but it's going to be a hell of a sequence.
Fantastic. Dwayne, always good to see you.
It's a pleasure,
Thank
man.
you so much, man.
We've graduated to a whole new level.
So that is behind the scenes on the latest Fast and the Furious movie, all wrapped up. But something tells me my drive home isn't going to be anything like the film. See you in the traffic. Bye-bye.